Once we return to our base location, in order to claim expenses, we have to click on Expense, which will then direct us to a page where a new claim option is available. Clicking on Create New Claim will open a new expense claim window for us. It is mandatory to fill all the columns highlighted in red color. Fill all these columns one by one. So let's start with Policy. In the drop-down arrow, there will be three options: Luminous Travel Policy, Luminous Impressed Policy and Luminous Non-Travel Policy. Since we are claiming in domestic travel, we will select the Luminous Travel Policy. Next is the report name. Our report name should be relevant to the travel. Since we are making a claim against the request, then our report name would be same as that of the request name. So here it will be Travel to Delhi. Next column is the report date. This is the date on which we will claim our expenses, and this can also be that of the coming days. Next is the travel end date. That is the date on which you are returning to your base location. The expense claim can only be made for the past date. It can never be made for the future date. For example, travel end date is of 5th of September. Next is the temporary phone number. Write your available phone number so that concerned person can contact you easily in case of any query. Next is travel type. It includes domestic, local and international. We will select domestic. Below details like cost object type, cost object ID and internal order are auto-populated from SuccessFactors and the internal order is the last 6 digits of employee ID. In case there is some deviation or any corrections required in the cost object ID or internal order, you can contact to the HR. Mention the comments which you want to convey to approval authorities in the comment column, like for official purpose. Next comes the request. If there is any request against a claim, then that will be shown in the columns given below once they are approved. You can take single or multiple requests against an expense. You can add multiple requests by click on Add button and then click Next. There will be a pop-up regarding travel allowances, asking do you have a hotel/meals/own stay for domestic or international travel, and it is mandatory. Click on Yes in case of domestic and international travel. This is for capturing your day-wise entitlement. If you click Yes, system will calculate your per day limit of food and hotel, own stay, per diem accordingly. By chance, if you click on No, you will not be able to submit your claim for hotel meals and own stay and per diem. Therefore, click Yes. This will direct you to another window, which is for creating itinerary for domestic and international expense claim. Since our expense name was for Travel to Delhi is being shown to you. In this window, you will be presented with the itinerary info, in which we have to fill our departure from base location to an arrival location and vice versa details. There is an option of selection, which includes domestic and international. By default, it is domestic. Select international, in case of international travel. We will select domestic here, then in the departure city, we will mention about the place, date, and time we departed from a particular city. And in arrival city mention the time and the date for arrival and click on save. This is the date on which we left our base location. The details got captured here and then fill details about your return to the base location. For example, I return on 5th of September, fill in the details. And then click on save. In this way we captured our start date and end date of travel. If you have multiple travels, you will add those locations one by one as per the travel and then click on next. This will create your itinerary info. Itinerary basically is our travel start date and end date, through which our hotel and food, own stay and per diem limit is calculated. Click on next, which will direct us to a window in which there are some checkbox under own stay domestic only. Which means if you have own stay / guest house stay on the state, then you will select the checkbox, otherwise don't. For example, if I have a own stay on 4th of September, click on this. And then click on Create Expense, which will open a page with all the expense type, travel, domestic, local, up-country will be shown. Check all the expenses related to domestic travel. We will start with local conveyance, public transport. Select transaction date, 2nd of September, business purpose which was official. Base location, travel type and numbers of kilometers is 15. Mention start date and time of travel. End date and time of travel. Next is your transport type, in which you have to mention that which type of public transport did you use, such as bus or share taxi. In payment, there are two options, either cash or paid by company. Select cash in case of payment made by you. If payment made by company, select paid by company. Next is the amount. In case of public transport, you can take 500 at max with or without bill. Here my claim amount is 300. If receipts are available, click on receipts. If not, then click on no receipt. Then write a reason of using public transport in comment option like home to airport and then click on Save button. There is also an option for hotel / food / own stay in domestic. Click on taxi if you made expenses on taxi. Fill in the transaction date 2nd of September. Select the vendor whether it was Ola, Uber or others. Select the city of purchase, such as Delhi. Mention the start date and time of travel. Mention the end date and time of travel. Select the travel type, whether it is domestic or international. We will select domestic. Mention the number of kilometers traveled, which is 15 kilometers. Select the payment type, whether it was cash or paid by company. Write the amount. In the case of taxi, supporting is mandatory and therefore we will click on Receipt Status option. No receipt, receipt and tax receipt option will be available to us. Click on Tax Receipt, if tax receipt invoice are available. Otherwise click on Receipt. Click on Attach Receipts. Click on Browse, select the receipts. And then click on Attach. Write a comment, for example for official purposes. And then click on Save. Select hotel/food/own stay, domestic. For claiming the amount of these three expenses. We will select hotel/food/own stay, domestic. Expense type is already been captured, such as hotel/food/own stay, domestic. Next will be the transaction date. Transaction date will be the checkout date. Mention business purpose like official, city of purchase, vendor if available here mention, otherwise leave the column blank. Next is the travel type, whether domestic or international. Domestic travel it is. Then comes hotel and food, own stay option, in which we have three options: hotel, food and own stay. In case we have to claim for hotel, select hotel, select the payment type, whether it is a self-paid or paid by company. Mention the total amount including tax. For example, amount is 3,136. In case of hotel, receipts are mandatory and we should have the tax invoice if basic amount is more than 999 Indian rupees. So here we will select tax receipts. Click on Attach Receipts, browse, select the receipts and then click on Attach. Add a comment like hotel stay. In case of hotel, tax and other charges such as CGST, SGST, UGST, IGST also added. We have to click on Save and Itemize, which will calculate your per day room tariff and tax amount. So here we will click on Save and Itemize. After this, we select checking date. Checkout date is basically the transaction date and check-in date is the date on which you check in inside a hotel. Number of nights are calculated on the basis of check-in and check-out. Next is the recurring charges. Mention the per day charges in the room rate column. For example, here it is 1,400 exclusive of taxes. Next will be the additional charges, which will include charges like service charges or taxes. So we will capture that amount here. And then we will click on additional charges, select the taxes. For example, I stayed in Delhi and therefore it would be CGST. Enter the amount of CGST. Enter the amount of SGST in next option. and then click on Save and Itemize. Here we can see the notification below the exception, stating that the itemization amount do not add to the expense amount, which means that your itemization amount cannot be tallied with the total amount. In such cases, we need to check on the right-hand side of the screen. You will be shown the total amount, which was 3136 and the itemized amount was 3072 and remaining amount is 64 . In this case, we need to recheck this. So my basic amount was 1400 and 6% of CGST on 1400 will come for 84. You will make the correction 84 and then click on Save. Similarly, we have to make changes to amount each and every section of tax one by one. Here, you can see that the exceptions has disappeared, because the total amount and itemized amount got tallied. Here you can see your room rate hotel data, in which your daily amount and tax amount after being itemized. Your per day amount for lodging has been calculated. If in this, I have own stay also, then we will claim for own stay. My transaction date was 5th of September. The business purpose was official. City of purchase was Delhi. Mention the travel type, domestic. Next is the hotel food and own stay. Since I used own stay, click on own stay. Add the payment type, cash or paid by the company. In case of own stay, it will be cash. And then enter amount. Basically, in case of own stay, per day entitlement amount is fixed. We cannot capture more than the entitlement amount because of the amount exceeds would not be processed. Therefore, we have to claim within the limit. So my limit is 2400, so write 2400 here. Then add a comment, for own stay. In the case of own stay, you don't have any receipts. Click on no receipts. And then click on save. If your own stay is more than 1 day, then you will click on save and itemize. Mention the check-in date, which is 4th of September in this case. Mention your own stay per day amount. And then click on Save Itemization. In this way, the amount of own stay also got captured. Apart from this, if you have made any other expenses, for instance if you're staying at the guest house, you can claim expenses on food. But in such cases we cannot claim more than 50% from our per day entitlement with a proper supporting. In case of guest house food claim, click Meals Guest House Stay, fill in the expense type, fill in the transaction date which is 5th of September. And select the guest house, whichever guest house you have stayed in. Select the travel type, whether it is the domestic or international. Select the payment type cash or paid by the company. Fill in the amount and it is mandatory to attach receipts. Click on Receipts from the Receipt Status option. And click on Attach Receipts. Browse, select the receipts and click on Attach. And then click on Save button. In this way we captured all our expenses one by one. After capturing all the expenses, click on Submit Claim and then click on Accept and Submit. Here we will receive a red pop-up, and till the time you don't clear it, you won't be able to submit your claim. So here click OK and check the error. Here we have seen that you have exceeded your daily limit for meals while staying at the guest house. Please review. Here I have claimed a total of 2000 and my guest house meals limit of 2000 is on per day basis, but as mentioned only 50% of the total can be claimed on guest house meals. Change to amount to 1000 and click on Save. Click on Submit Claim. Click on Accept and Submit. This will direct you to the window, which tells you that your claim has been successfully submitted. And your total expense, company disbursements, employee disbursements will be displayed on the screen. Your personal amount would be deducted. Close the window after checking. Now our travel has been submitted. From here you can check to which authority your expense is pending. For example, here it is pending from the manager's side once your claim gets approved from all the authorities, and pending in accounting review. Then click on Expense, select Expense Detail Report. From the Print Email option, take the printout and submit the hard copy to the BCO with all the supporting for process the claim.
Luminous, खुशियों का घर।